Da 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 da. Hello, everybody. I think I should be live. I hope you can hear me. Let's see. I think I'm live. If you're watching this back later, hi. This is the part where I just have a little chat before people actually start watching the live event. Let's see. Just going to adjust the camera up a tiny bit. Just checking on this side. Is it working? So welcome everybody. If you're watching this early music live stream, I apologize for the late delay. We've had a few technical issues and I'm just getting them ironed out first before I start talking to you about all of these tenor recorders. Just checking if you are watching this and you can see. Let's see. Okay, great. Hi everyone. Again, thank you so much for your patience and apologize for these technical delays. Technology, that's why I love working with recorders, because they are made of wood. It's on good authority that you can see and hear me and you're watching on Facebook. So if you are, hi and welcome. My name is Sarah Jeffrey and I'm a recorder player and I have no less than 17 tenor recorders to play for you today in partnership with the Early Music Shop in London. This is the fourth of my videos with them, 2 live streams and 2 videos on my YouTube channel, Team Recorder, where I've been taking you through all different aspects of buying a wooden recorder. Today, please feel free to answer any questions you may have. Ask for requests. I am working on how to actually see those because I know Emma from the Early Music Shop is watching. I'm not seeing anything appearing in the chat. So maybe if there are questions coming up, you can text me them and I can answer them. Other than that, I hope that this technology is with us today. I'm going to be playing 17 tenors from Merc, Mollenhauer and Kung, comparing how they sound and more importantly, comparing the different adaptations they may have to make these instruments more physically accessible. Tenor recorders have a much bigger stretch than alto recorders, and some of these instruments have extra comfort keys attached, or even things like a bent neck joint, which will help a lot by lifting the instrument up more. So I'm going to start off actually showing these bent neck heads joint instruments. We have 3, one from Merc, one from Kung, and one from Mollenhauer. I'm going to start off with the Merc instrument. So this is a Merc Rondo, and I'm just checking the wood. It's in maple, but stained maple. The modifications are this bent head joint, as you can see, which lifts the instrument. We have a thumb rest in the back with an extra hook if you want to wear a sling. We have 4 keys. So we have 1 key for the left ring finger, 1 key for the right index finger, and 2 keys for the pinky finger for that low C and C sharp. So I'm just going to give it a play for you. Going up nice and high there. Oh, great. Good news. My computer's starting to update so I can see a few people coming in. Good. Wonderful. I'm already feeling, because of this bent neck, what it does, it enables you to raise your hands. So with a regular tenor, your hands are much lower down, and you end up with, just going to lift my hand so you can see it, you end up with this kind of almost twisted hand position, which can bring problems. And what this does, it just enables you to lift your hands up that little bit to enable your wrists, rather than being bent down like this, it brings them up like this. So if you look at how I'm holding this, I have this hand position, which is really nice and natural, and this hand position, which is also very nice. So this is something you'll be seeing across the 3 bent neck head joint. Great. I'm getting some questions in from Emma. Thank you to all who are sending questions. The first one, can you compare the Cantor and the Denner? Wondering what a higher price will get. Yes. And I'm also getting a notification just to make sure that that chat is enabled. Okay. From my side, the chat should be enabled. So I'm hoping that it starts working soon. Oh, God, I love technology. Okay, from the Mollenhauer instruments, as I discussed in the last live stream, we have the Cantor range, which is a lower price point, and the Denner range, which is a higher price point. Let me just see. Here are my Mollenhauers. So I actually have 3 Mollenhauer Cantors. I'm being very careful here, which are our lower price points. And you can see this one has no keys at all. This one has the bottom key for your C, C sharp, and this is the comfort tenor with your added keys for the 2 holes in the middle. So with this, you can actually choose the amount of keyage you like. Further than that, the sound should be the same. These are just the modifications for your hands, and I'm going to compare this with the, which one is it here? I'm just checking. Oh no, we do have. This is my also a Cantor, and we have the Mollenhauer. Yeah. And here we have the Denner range, also in different amounts of keys. So I'm gonna test out the ones with more keys, just because that's very interesting to see. We'll start off with the Cantor, which is your lower price point. it's a very mellow, rounded, quite a smooth, sweet sound. One interesting thing about the Mollenhauers is that the keys are the other way around. So you press down one key for the C and two keys for the C sharp. With other models, that might be the other way around. So just to compare the sound of the canter, with the Denner. So I feel with the Denner, the sound is just that bit more open. You can push it a little bit more. It's got a bit more of a spectrum in terms of what you can do with the sound. And it's a little bit more refined. Good. I'm checking my chat down here. Ooh. I'm telling Emma at the Early Music Shop, no, I can't see your chats on the screen, so she's going to send them through to me. Which, there we go. So Emma's going to send all your questions through to me because for some reason the technology isn't sending it through. By the way, Emma works at the Early Music Shop and is a recorder expert. At the Early Music Shop, they have a whole host of qualified people working there. So you can always call them and say, hey, I'd like to buy a tenor or a soprano or a contrabass, and this is the music I play. This is how I would like it to sound and to feel, and they can give you professional advice. So Emma's helping me here, but she can help you as well. Okay. So the question with the, for example, the lower and the higher price points, I think the higher price point will always get you a better, more refined sound and more flexibility in the instrument, how you can push it in terms of dynamics, sound, a bigger spectrum. So do any of the modifications have an impact on the music you play? Hopefully not. Hopefully these modifications would make it easier. I don't think they would affect the sound, to be honest. Let's compare. So we have a Merc Rondo in stained maple, or maybe stained pearwood. This has lots of keys. Comparing with no keys at all. Ooh, so I'm already feeling the Merc with no keys. That's a bit of a stretch for my hands, but I have very small hands. So to answer that, no, the keys won't make any difference in the sound. What I'm noticing is that they are all very well padded. With keys, every so often you might have to take care of them, clean the pads. If they really get worn down, have the pads replaced. Make sure the springs are in the right places. I have a bass recorder with keys, and my bass recorder is now 12 years old, and the keys make a very loud clicking noise, but they just need to have a reservice and it should be fine. How these instruments are made, the bent head joint. So with our Merc, you have a whole separate joint. And with the Kung and the Mollenhauer, they are fixed in place, but that also shouldn't actually affect the sound at all. So the modifications are there to help you. I don't think you would experience much sound difference. Let's see. Are there any differences in the bore sizes of the double key tenors and the tenors with no double key? That is a very good point. Let's check. I think my answer is going to be no, there's no difference. So I'm going to test two Mercs and I'm going to remember which head joint goes with which instrument. No, they are absolutely identical. It's literally, yeah, I'm comparing them. As you can see, the instruments are identical. They've just had keys fitted. Maybe there are slight differences in where the holes are placed. I can't really see. But funnily enough, if you've watched my video on how to make a recorder out of a carrot with Tim Cranmer, recorder maker, he was telling me that where the holes are placed isn't actually that important. You place the holes and then you can configure that by making the holes larger and smaller. And actually, if you look carefully, the holes on a recorder are always drilled at a slight, very precise diagonal angle. So no, the bores will be the same. There we go. I'm going to pop this down here. Yes, I definitely have the right head joints. Let's have a look for our next question. So I'm going to compare the Mollenhauer Cantor Nick tenor. By the way, I never know if it's Nick or Knick. I guess in English I'd say Nick, and in Dutch I'd say Knick. The Mollenhauer Cantor Knick and the Kung Knick against each other. Okay, so we have two of our Nick tenors. I'm going to start with the Kung because I haven't played so much Kung yet today. Whoa! Like last week, I find the Kung instruments have a lot of sound. You can give a lot of air, big, bright sound, quite loud. And now let's try the Mollenhauer. So the Mollenhauer I find is much more mellow, softer, a bit more, maybe a little bit more noise in the sound, but I think that can also be a really nice thing. So the Kung is in general more air, louder, brighter tone. And the Mollenhauer, you can blow softer, it's more mellow, maybe it's more blendable. So it would really depend on what you wanted. I could imagine the Kung being a really nice solo instrument, and the Mollenhauer would blend beautifully if you were playing in a quartet, for example. I'm just going to quickly try and turn that around. Play the Mollenhauer one as a solo and then try and blend with the Kung. Nice. Both very nice instruments. Let's see. Looking at my next question and taking a drink of water because it's very warm in my room. Let's see. I'm just seeing if I can see the chat box on my phone. Oh, yes, I can. Technology. Okay. I'm going to scroll down a bit to make sure I haven't missed any. And if I do miss a question, and you can just write it again because now I can see you. So a tenner for beginners between 200 and 500. As you can see in the description of this video, we have a few in that range. So the Mollenhauer canters, for example, are these ones. This I'm looking, I think, is the cheapest at 333. These are all in pounds, so you'll have to go and translate over what that means in dollars. So if I'm looking at this list, the ones that will be in your price range are actually the keyless ones, the ones without keys. We also have, this is the, this is the Mollenhauer. A Mollenhauer Denner range in pearwood, coming in at 450. Very nice. Comparing straight away with the Kung, also in pearwood. Just checking. Oh no, sorry, in cherrywood. Cherrywood, for those of you who haven't tried it before, is very light in weight. So if the weight of a recorder is something that's difficult for you physically, cherrywood can be the thing. Kung have a cherrywood range, and I know that Mollenhauer have just released a whole cherrywood range as well in all sizes. Whoa, so much sound. Wow. And then we also have our Merc Instruments. This will be the Merc Rondo and the Merc Rottenberg here. So again, these are your two price points. The lower price point of the Rondo, which is coming in at 345, and the higher price point of the Rottenberg at 462. To compare the two of those. So the difference between the two price points, I'm hearing, it's funny, they're both different in the lower register than in the higher register. Generally in your higher price point, as I said before, you'll just have a bit more refinement in the tone and a bit more flexibility with what you can do. If price is really the issue, the lower price point are still really good instruments. Personally, if I'm going to make an investment in a recorder, I want to go for the highest level of the build that I can. As we saw last week in my video on my YouTube channel, I was trying out all these different woods. The price of the wood can make it vary a lot. But I would personally go for the higher model in a less expensive wood than the other way round. But at the end of the day, choose the instrument that speaks to you, that you enjoy playing. Whether that is the cheapest or the most expensive, choose the one that's right for you. Great. I think if I refresh, then I can see more questions. Oh yeah, there we go. Aha, so the Kung Nick tenor. This is, just checking, this is also in cherry wood. This is coming in at 795. It's very, very light. So coming back to the kind of physical attributes of this, how it feels physically to play this, cherry wood is a really nice choice if heavy weights can be difficult for your arms because it's very light. So this Kung is a really nice option because you've got this fourfold factor of the lightness of the wood, these very nice keys. As you can see, the keys are very stylishly made. And just comparing them. Yeah, I like the Kung keys because they're quite flat and you can choose to cover them at any point on the key. So you can keep your fingers actually completely next to each other. Or if it's more comfortable, you can spread them a little bit. You have on the back this thumb rest, which, yes, with a screw, you can move up and down. And you have these keys on the bottom. The Kung does need more air. So if the physical attribute of blowing air is also a struggling point for you, maybe you want to choose an instrument that takes a little bit less air. In that case, let's just compare. So that's a lot of air with the Kung. Ooh, you can blow very little with the Mollenhauer, and it still sounds very nice. Let's see where the Merc falls. Somewhere in the middle. So if you want the big sound, go for the Kung, but if you want to be able to blow little, go for the Mollenhauer, and the Merc is somewhere in the middle. Let's compare these keys. Oh, by the way, something just happened on my computer screen. I can see you. Fantastic. Yes, I find that Kungs can take a lot of air, which is really nice if you want to give that big sound. A lot of air doesn't mean it has to be harsh or loud. I have a Kung Sopranino that can actually sound super mellow and soft and beautiful, which for a Sopranino recorder is that's quite an achievement. But sometimes I feel like with a tenor, I would like to have that big, expansive sound. So then I might go for a Kung. For an alto, I might want to have a more refined Baroque sound. Then I might choose a Mollenhauer Denner or a Merc Rottenberg. So what was I doing? I was showing you the key work. So I think this is nice to see. I want to show you one of each. Yeah, let's just do it like this. So I know for some of you that you might be wanting to get an instrument with keys because that will make it physically easier for you to play. I'm just going to hold these three instruments up so you can see how they compare in terms of size. As you can see, hopefully, it's a bit trickier to do than I thought. The Mollenhauer comes out as the tallest, and There we go. The Merc comes out as the shortest. So if you really need to raise your hands up a lot, the Merc does that the most. The Mollenhauer has the kind of least raising of the hands. Wow, coupled with that, the thumb rest on the back, they all have a thumb rest. This is where they are placed. So you can see the Merc is by far the highest. The Mollenhauer is by far the highest. The Merc and the Kung are much lower. But all of the thumb rests are adjustable, so you can change that. The Kung does not have a strap for a sling. So with this Kung, you cannot use a sling. You can with the Merc and the Mollenhauer. A sling is basically a strap that goes around your neck, and it takes the weight of your instrument away from your hands and onto your neck. For some people, this is really helpful. For some people, others, it might not help because you might not want this weight here. But to be honest, a recorder is very light, so I don't think it will give you trouble on your neck. I use a sling when I play a massive, great, whopping, great bass recorder in like solid wood, and that works fine. By the way, for slings, I really like to use a bassoon sling that's elasticated. That's my tip. Just coming to look at your... that is a really good question. How do tenors compare to sopranos in terms of breathing? Yes, they feel very different. A tenor is twice the size of a soprano. You can fit 2 sopranos in a tenor. So at first, it will feel like you are breathing a lot more air. It will feel like you're breathing more air, blowing more air, but it's still not a huge amount. It's still not like blowing a saxophone or a trumpet. So it will take a little bit of time getting used to that, but I think that will go quite quickly. It's still a big step below blowing a bass recorder, so I think it's something you can get used to. The way of blowing is a little bit different because sometimes you might have to blow a bit slower air, more like to fill the instrument. Whereas with a smaller recorder, you want to be a little bit more piercing with the air. I'm taking care not to neglect the instruments that are further away from me. Here's a Merc. Ooh, still I can blow in a very small focused stream down at the bottom. Let's read the next question. Do pros prefer the ones with keys, or do they prefer the keyless ones? Do the ones with keys sound better? So a bit earlier in the stream, I was talking about the keys affect the sound. They shouldn't affect the sound at all, actually. It's literally just a replacement for your finger. So the fact that there's a key there or your finger there, that shouldn't affect the sound at all. If your keys are a bit old or tired or worn, you might hear a clicking sound, but that's something that you can get serviced, also at the early music shop, and definitely something that I need to do on my bass recorder. Do the pros prefer the ones with keys? It really varies. My tenor recorder, which by the way is a Yamaha instrument, has the key for the C and the C sharp, and I'm really happy to have that key. For me, that's a fine stretch. I feel that I don't need to have the extra keys for the comfort. So the amount of keys my tenor has is like this one. The one disadvantage with keys is that you can't do a glissando as well. the key is closed or it's not, unless you do a very kind of careful hooking of your finger. And if you want to kind of trill between the notes very fast, then the key is like an extra thing in the way. But apart from that, I haven't felt that the key has stood in my way. It's worth noting, as I said earlier, the Mollenhauers do their key work at the bottom the other way around. So for the Mollenhauer, one key is C, two keys is C sharp. But for Merc and Kung, it's the other way around. One key is C sharp, two keys is C. One important thing about keys that I found with one of my students is that the added key is a weight to push down. It's a small weight, but that weight could still matter for you. So if you have very weak fingers, it is possible that that added key could make it too difficult to close the note. If there's no key at all, it's literally just your finger moving. But if you're having to push a key up and down, that could be something to take into account. If you're thinking about keys because you have weak muscles in your fingers, that's a reason for it to be good to try it out before you buy. Luckily, that's something you can do at the Early Music Shop. I'm just going to take a second to talk about the approval service. At the Early Music Shop, all UK residents can order up to 3 instruments to borrow on loan on approval for 2 weeks. So then you can try it at home in your own time. Nobody's listening. You could take it to your teacher, take it to your ensemble, when we can see our teachers and our ensembles again. And you really have the time to play the instruments and make a choice. So that's the Early Music Shop approval service. If you're outside the UK and you're thinking, this sounds amazing, the current global situation is making it a bit more difficult, but never say never. Just take up contact with the Early Music Shop with payment in advance. It can be possible, depending on where you live. So that's an option that's there. Right, it's going to come up and read. Oh, yeah. So, can I play one with keys and one without to see the ease of my fingers? Yes. So, here we have the Mollenhauer Cantor in Pearwood, no keys. You know when you drive a new car for the first time or you ride a new bike? That's what it feels a bit like. I'm like, oh, where are the holes? But so it's easy for my fingers to move, but I am noticing the extra stretch. This is quite a stretch. Then with the keys. So I'm having to use maybe like 2% more power to push those keys down. But the trade-off is that my fingers are closer together. It's easier. I think it's easier to move your fingers like this than like this. So it could be a matter of trying out 3 instruments with different levels of keys and seeing what's easier for you. Is it easier to move with no keys but more stretch, or with keys and closer together? I can't speak for everybody, but that's what I would take into account. Can you do glissando with keys? Oh, well, I'll be honest, it's not the easiest, but it's not impossible. Let me have a go. Yeah, you can see I'm kind of I'm kind of pushing my finger against the side of the key, supporting with another finger to slowly raise the key up and down. The thing is, without a key, you can draw your finger back across the hole, gradually opening it, because you're basically lifting the lid off a hole with a key. It's like lifting a lid very slowly. Um, so that can happen. You can be in the middle of your glissando and hit a strange harmonic. If you're buying a tenor recorder for the purpose of playing a glissando, you'll want one without keys. But at the end of the day, you have to go for the instrument that's most comfortable for you. So don't let the odd key get in the way of your glissandos and get in the way of choosing the instrument that's right for you. So, I'm so happy I can see your questions all on the screen now. I've read that both Merc keyed and keyless tenors are the same length, whereas the modern Howe keyless tenors are often shorter than the key counterpoints for ease of playing. Is this correct? That is a good question. Merc keyed and keyless. Yeah, same length. I'll just check the rondo as well. Same. Yeah. So with the Mercs, it is literally a keyless recorder that you then put keys onto. The Mollenhauers. It's a Mollenhauer. Oh, C sharp key at the bottom. Oh, let's get a completely keyless one. Oh, oh my gosh, look at this. Yes, you're absolutely right. You are right. Oh, sorry. Look at that. The Merc keyless recorder is shorter. Yeah, that's quite a substantial difference. Wow, that's a good inch shorter. How they actually achieve this to make it the same pitch with making it shorter, I don't know, but that is really fascinating. Is the sound different? I feel the sound is quite different in these two instruments, but just in the sense that often if you try different recorders, you will have a different sound. So I don't know if it's necessarily related to the length. Just out of interest, let's try the Kung. The Kung keyed and keyless are also different lengths. Would you look at that? It's a whole new world. With keys, they are longer. Without keys, it's shorter. If anybody knows how they achieve this, please let me know. I'm also noticing. Yep. I'm just looking for thumb rests, by the way. All of the instruments. Yeah. The instruments with keys in the middle, our so-called comfort tenors, all have thumb rests. The keys with the instruments with no keys or just the C sharp keys do not have thumb rests. But if a thumb rest is something you want, never fear. It's something that can easily be placed on the instrument. Or you can also make your own. People make it from well, I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to advise something and then you harm your instrument. So yeah, but that's good to know. These comfort tenors have thumb rests that others do not. Okay. I'm going to come back to Sean's other question in a second, but just to mix it up a bit, are bent tenors quieter than those that are not bent? Let's try. That's my Merc. Not noticing a huge difference. Trying to pick the same recorder each time. No, I don't really feel a difference in volume, to be honest. And just this small bend, I don't think that would have a discernible effect on the volume. A question about finger spread. This is very important if you have very small hands. So let's have a look. Let's see exactly what Sean is asking. The Merc and the Mollenhauer between the Rottenberg and the Denner. By the way, I love these kind of really specific recorder questions. It makes me so happy. So, is there a difference between the finger spread of the Merc Rottenberg and the Mollenhauer Denner? Let's see. First, I'm just going to take the keyless ones so we can see properly. Let's take our Merc and our Denner. No. Yes. Okay. Merc Rottenberg and Mollenhauer Denner. For a start, they are the same length, which is interesting because we know that the Mercs do not change in length. Ooh, so they are the same length without keys. That means that the Mollenhauer and the Kung keyed instruments are made slightly longer. Very interesting. I'm just having a quick look at the... Okay, it looks like the finger spread is pretty much the same. I think if you look carefully, the distance between the left and the right hand is slightly greater on the Mollenhauer, but very slightly. And I think the distance between the fingers themselves are the same. So no, if finger spread is an important point for you, there's not that much difference between the Merc and the Mollenhauer. I'm just going to look at the keyed ones. So here's our Mollenhauer and our Merc. Here's our Mollenhauer Comfort and our Merc Comfort. So as you can see already, the Mollenhauer is much longer. So here we see quite a big difference. From your mouth, let's say, that is what you can see on the back. I'm measuring from the mouth and not from the bottom because the mouth is the starting point. The recorder will always start in your mouth. Measuring from the mouth, the thumb holes are in the same place. Oh, the thumb rests are in the same place. Oh, wait a second. Hang on. It's actually the logical way. Yeah, measuring from the top, the keys look to be pretty much in the same places. Maybe by the end down here, the Mollenhauer is a tiny, tiny bit longer. A little bit more of a stretch. but for the other keys, it's the same. There we go. Okay. What's the difference between the Merc Rondo and Denner and Cantor recorders? Okay, so as I said before, the Mollenhauer, Denner, and Cantor, two models by Mollenhauer at different price points. You've got your Cantor. I'm just going to play them for you. Cantor, a Denner, and Rondo. Let's start with a Cantor. Let's compare it straight away with the Merc. So I'm pausing because I'm suddenly hearing myself playing. That's strange. The Merc Rondo. Sorry, everybody. I'm pausing because I can hear myself feeding back from somewhere, and I think it might be my computer. I'm just going to continue. God, I love technology. There we go. Okay. That's one thing I like about Mercs very much. They have such a flexibility in the tone. You can really give a bit more, give a bit less. The instrument will still be stable. And then to go to the Denner, this is the Mollenhauer at a higher price point. Wow, I can play really soft and really high. And then loud and low at the bottom. There we go. Close that page on my phone now. Hopefully you can't hear me talking over myself now. So I hope you could hear the difference in sound between those three. Let's see. The keyless Mollenhauer, does it have, is it quieter? Oh. I don't think a keyless instrument would necessarily be quieter than a keyed instrument. The only thing would be if with a keyless instrument you can't really stretch to cover the holes, and that means air is leaking. That can mean that with a keyed instrument, you can cover the holes well and then give a little bit more air. I can see the time is coming up to 1 hour, so I'm going to get through the rest of your questions. I'm having so much fun talking to you. Out of the keyless tenors, which has the most comfortable stretch? The most important question, I think. Let's see. Okay, the Merc Rondo has quite a stretch. Okay, I think the Rondo and the Rottenberg are similar. The Kung. The Kung is the Mollenhauer and the Merc feel very similar. The Kung, I'm already saying this last hole is raised. So particularly for the little finger, it's more comfortable. Yeah. I have 5 keyless instruments. I don't know if it's possible for me to hold all 5 of them. I feel like in terms of the left hand, they're all the same. For me, the stretch is always about the pinky finger, and the Kung definitely feels a little bit more comfortable. Let me just feel in terms of the left hand. You see, I've spent years working on my hand position, so the left hand's never much of a problem. But let me have a look. That's the Kung, that's the Mollenhauer, that's the Merc. It looks like the distance between the fingers is the same. There we go. So if you're having trouble stretching your pinky, the Kung could be the one for you. Let's see. Do we have one more question? I have small fingers. Oh, how does the pinky stretch? That's good. I just went into pinkies. So on the Yamaha, I don't have my instrument here with me at the moment. I have a key, so it feels very comfortable indeed. I haven't actually played a Yamaha keyless instrument, so I can't comment on that really. But yeah, in terms of pinkies, I like what they're doing with the Kung. So let's see. Unless anyone has one last burning question, I'm going to wrap it up here because there's a couple of things I want to tell you about the early music shop. The first thing I want to say though is thank you all of you for coming and watching today, providing these questions so that I can demonstrate these things for you. Thank you so much for your patience with the technological side. Sometimes your computer is not smiling upon you and you can't say to it, why computer, why? But I'm really happy that we made it. So at the Early Music Shop, they have a huge catalogue online. All of their recorders and instruments ship worldwide. All orders over £100 ship for free. So pretty much if you're buying a tenor recorder, you're going to get it free to your door. As I said already, UK residents can order 3 instruments to have on approval for 2 weeks to try in your own time. If you're not resident in the UK, contact them and see what can be done, maybe with payment in advance. It can work. It really depends on where you live and what the kind of import laws, taxes are. But the whole team at Early Music Shop are super friendly, super helpful, willing to work with you, and they can give their professional advice. And trust me, they know a lot about the instruments in their shops. So yeah, the Early Music Shop, it's really your one-stop place for all of these instruments. Also accessories, beautiful music stands, sheet music. Um, and they are having a lot of kind of offers and giveaways, so make sure you're following them on all of their social media. I saw one thing pop up there. It's some thank yous. So I want to say thank you to the Early Music Shop, especially Emma, who is on the other end of my phone with me going, the live stream's not loading, but we figured that out in the end. Um, Thank you, all of you. If you missed the live stream 2 weeks ago, I was comparing mid price alto recorders, which are your fantastic choices for your first wooden recorder. Over on Team Recorder, I've done 2 videos for the Early Music Shop comparing 7 different woods and comparing a Merc, Mollenhauer, and Kung instrument in detail. So you've got a whole range of lovely videos to go and watch. And if you're thinking of buying an instrument, congratulations already on your new purchase. I wish you lots of joy with your new recorder. So I'm going to sign off now. Thanks to everybody for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!